This video is brought to you by the Raven Space Patreon page. Without your help, we cannot do any of the cool things we do, so Patreon allows you to support us and support independent media. And when you support us, we support you by giving you early access to videos, special giveaways, and even Ravens tickets. So check out the Raven Space Patreon and support today. Welcome to the Raven Space on YouTube. My name is Jason, and this is Raven Space Daily, where we talk about Baltimore Ravens news every single weekday. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and thank you guys so much who are joining me live. We have 2 topics to get to today, and we have 2 mailbag questions. So I'm super excited about that. If you're not subscribed to the Raven Space on YouTube, please subscribe for the best Baltimore Ravens news on the internet. Also, special shout out to our Patreon subscribers, because without you guys, none of this is possible. So thank you guys so much. Now we're going to hop into the first topic of the day. And again, talks about Joe Flacco. We talked about Joe Flacco yesterday. But today, ESPN let out their quarterback rankings. And Joe Flacco was ranked in the 3rd tier. And so if you guys that do not know what the ratings are or don't look at them, so basically what happened is ESPN goes through and they ask executives, coaches, and different things like that to rank each quarterback, either 1st tier, 2nd tier, 3rd tier, or 4th tier. And so Joe Flacco was ranked in the 3rd tier. And in this case, 3rd tier means a quarterback that needs a running game and pieces around him in order to be successful. And so that is what they think Joe Flacco is. Do I think Joe Flacco's that? No, I think Joe Flacco is either closer to 2nd tier. I do not think he's 1st tier, but maybe even the bottom of the 2nd tier. Because they had players like Matthew Stafford in 2nd tier. And I really don't see a large difference between Matthew Stafford and Joe Flacco, other than that Matthew Stafford had Calvin Johnson. So I'm a little confused with that part. Now, if you guys want to say that Joe Flacco is 3rd tier, that would be your opinion, and I wouldn't be mad at that. But 2nd tier is what I personally think he is. And so again, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think he's 2nd tier, 3rd tier, 1st tier? Just let me know. But I think that if he had the pieces around him, then the Ravens would be very, very good. You have to remember that last year, the best piece that he had was either old Steve Smith or Mike Wallace. So, I don't know which one it is, but I honestly do think that he is a 2nd tier quarterback. So, again, let me know what you think, guys, in the comments below, and we're going to move on to the next topic, and it talks about Danny Woodhead and Danny Woodhead's injury. So Danny played on the preseason game. I thought he was not good, and I thought that a lot of things just didn't mesh that 2nd preseason game when he was in the game. And now we know that he has an injury, and so Danny Woodhead has hurt his hamstring, and the Baltimore Sun reports that he probably will not be playing in any of the preseason games. So I don't have a problem with him playing in preseason games, because I don't think a lot of players should play in preseason games. But I do have a problem with the chemistry that I think Danny needs to build with the offensive line and the running game. Joe Flacco's not in, so he's not going to really develop much of a chemistry with Joe. But he does need to develop a chemistry with Mallett if Mallett's going to end up being a player that's going to be playing in the NFL. So I was a little bummed about that. Again, that 2nd preseason game really cooled me down on Danny Woodhead, because you realize very quickly that he's a player that needs a great quarterback in order to be his best, right? And Ryan Mallett's not that. Joe Flacco is good. I don't know if I'll call him great yet. So I'm a little worried about where Danny Woodhead fits into the whole scheme of things. But again, you guys let me know. Are you guys scared about this hamstring injury? I'm a little bit. I'm a little hesitant because again, I thought Danny Woodhead was going to be a big part of the Ravens offense this season. So let me know. And like I said, that was the only news today that I had. So we're going to do mailbag questions. If you want to ask a question, please send your question to mailbag@theravenspace.com. You guys help fuel the show with your questions, so send those questions in, please. Also, at the end of the episode, we're going to go to live chat questions. So get your questions ready in the live chat for the end of the episode so we can do some extra time. So we're going to go to the question. This first question is from Logan, and Logan asks, do you think Ryan Mallett should be a backup quarterback? I watched Josh Woodrum play Thursday, and he surprised me. So thanks, Logan, so much for the question. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys for a quick second. Woodrum did impress me, but I just don't know how far we should go with Woodrum because he hasn't played against starters yet. For everything you want to say about Ryan Mallett, he does have experience playing against starters, and he has looked good against starters. Ryan Mallett was a big part when the Ravens won against the Pittsburgh Steelers, so you got to take that into account. Now, if this third preseason game, Josh Woodrum shows up and shows me that he can play against starters, then I'll say no problem, Josh Woodrum, number 2, Mallett, get out of here. But until then, I think that, Mallett will be the second stringer. Now, if you go get another veteran to come in and actually compete, then it might be something different. The Ravens said they were doing that, but, I didn't see any competition that last preseason game. So if you go get a veteran that can go compete, you could have got a Jay Cutler, even though I'm not a big fan. Could have got Colin Kaepernick, even though I'm not a big fan. There's other quarterbacks, RG3, even though I'm not a big fan. But you could go get somebody that can be competition, really. Because I don't think they're going to give Josh Woodrum the chance. So I would say that Ryan Mallett is the best choice the Ravens have on their roster if they did not give Woodrum a chance. So thank you so much for your question. And now we're going to move on to the next question. And of course, again, if you guys want to send in questions, please send them in to mailbag at theravenspace.com. And this question comes from Adam. And Adam asks, did Quincy Adebojo hurt his chances of making the team in game 2? This is a very, very, very good question. Did he do that? The answer is yes. He did do that. He hurt his chances severely. Again, when he gets into the film room, well, I'm sure he's been in there before, already. But when you're in the film room and they see those 2 plays that led to interceptions, at least on both of those plays, half of the responsibility goes to Quincy Adebojo and Ryan Mallett. I mean, they both did bad on the interception where the cornerback snatched it from him. But again, I thought that it was mostly Quincy's fault on that first interception that Ryan Mallett threw for not running out the play. You run to the ball, right? You don't let a cornerback whose job is to stick you get to the ball before you. So I was super disappointed in his play. He dropped passes in game 1 as well. I think he really hurt his chances. Tim White, on the other hand, would have helped his chances if he didn't get injured. But I do think that Quincy hurt his chances severely by, dropping passes, not being physical at the point of attack, and different things like that. So thank you so much. I truly do appreciate it. Now, guys, we're going to go to the live chat for some questions. So again, if you guys want to ask questions, please drop in the live chat. And so this question is going to come from Luis, and Luis asks in the chat, what's up with Brashard Perryman? Is he playing versus the Bengals? Thank you so much for your question, Luis. The answer is we don't know, right? That's just the true answer. They say he'll be ready by week 1. We don't know. I would say that he should be ready. We don't know if Brashard, there are some reports saying that this thing might be longer than expected and there's no timeline. Others say he'll be there by week 1. So again, we shall see. This next question comes from Tavon, and Tavon asks, does Michael Campanaro make this team, or does somebody like Keenan Reynolds take his place? So things have really changed in the Michael Campanaro game, in my opinion, because after game 1, it looked very rocky for him because you had all the rumors about Quincy doing well. White showed us that he can play. If he didn't get injured, he showed us that he can play at the level as a receiver. And then you had Keenan Reynolds, who showed us that he can be a great returner. Now, I do think Michael Campanaro makes this team. One, because he'll be backup insurance. I think Keenan Reynolds will be a starting returner. But I also think that right now Campanaro is actually the fourth best receiver on the roster. Chris Moore has not impressed me. Other receivers like Chris Matthews has not impressed me. But I truly do think that that Campanaro is the fourth best receiver on the team, and he'll make the team because of his receiving ability and not necessarily just his returning ability. So we're going to do two more questions. And this question is from Ravens C85, and he asks, who is your favorite Raven of all time? I don't know if you guys know this about me. I'm an Ed Reed guy. Ed Reed, to me, is the greatest defensive player in the history of the NFL, and that's not just because he's a Raven. It's because I was raised that the goal of a defensive player is to stop offense from putting points on the board. Not only did he do that, but he put points on the board as well. And again, if a defensive player can put points on the board consistently, that's what you want. And again, he did it in every facet. He was a returner. He was a guy who got interceptions. He's a guy that picked up fumbles, forced fumbles, and he was a guy that blocked kicks. So I liked him a lot. So that's my favorite Ravens player of all time and my favorite player of all time. And this question is going to be the last one. And this one is going to come from Kyle. And he asks, which undrafted free agent has the best chance of making the 53-man roster this year? Great question. It was Tim White. That's who it was. It was Tim White. Tim White is out. Now, after that, who has a chance? Right now, it's going to be Jalen Hill. Jalen Hill is playing out of his mind the first two games. If he does not make the team, someone else gets him. So you kind of the Ravens are going to be forced to put him on the team because they don't want anyone else to not be on the team. And it's going to be Jalen Hill. That's going to be the first one. The second one is going to be Ortiz, the fullback. And then after that, they fill in as they may. Ricard has a chance as well, but it's definitely going to be first Jalen Hill. Second is going to be Ortiz. And I think, you got Ricard and Adebayo. They're kind of tied. So thank you guys so much for watching this, either in a live chat or after it goes live, or as like a regular Raven Space Daily. But thank you guys so much. Please subscribe to the Raven Space on YouTube for the best Baltimore Raven content on the internet. Also, please check out our Patreon page where you guys can help us, because we cannot do this without you guys. So we need you guys to help us and support independent media. So thank you guys so much. Follow us on our Facebook, our Twitters, our Instagram. Thank you guys so much, and go